So UG, it's in the way I talk. So UG, from my head to my feet. So UG, what you get is what you see. So UG, it's in the way I walk. So UG, it's in the way I talk. So UG, from my head to my feet. So UG, what you get is what you see. So UG, I'm so UG. Are you from UG? Yo, what's good? What's going on? My name is the Myth, Mr. So UG, and I'd like to welcome you to another episode of the So UG podcast. With me, happy to have this gentleman here, a contributor, an artist, a hip-hop artist, but someone who has, been there, fought on the front line, fighting for Ugandan hip-hop, fighting for the arts, a critique, because when season 1 came out, one of the longest phone calls I got was from this gentleman, ladies and gentlemen, Xenson. His kafuluness, Xenson.
Yeah, thanks.
You decided to wear the mask on it.
Yeah, a bit.
A bit.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
No
it's
worries,
a pleasure.
Thank you for coming through.
Very glad.
Yo, listen, I want to have a loose conversation. I'll put the laptop away. Like I usually have the laptop with the questions and many questions, but I want to have a loose conversation with you. This Ugandan hip-hop thing, this hip-hop thing.
Yeah.
Hip-hop in general. How did you get involved? How did you start? What's your journey like with this genre of ours?
Actually, hip-hop, I don't even remember exactly, but I think it must have been on TV.
Yeah.
In either S2 or S3.
Yeah.
And I saw this video by Boogie Down Production. That's KRS-One and all these other guys. And I just fell in love, and then
was it the messaging? Was it the
no, it's the visual, the aesthetics.
Yeah.
And then along the way, I had an uncle who was in the Ebonies.
Okay.
So he used to travel a bit to the States and to the UK. So then he brought this VHS tape of the hip-hop documentary Wild Style.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah. And then, but even before that, he brought a VHS that had music videos of, I think it was a mini documentary of Bambata.
Okay. Wow.
The Zulu Nation.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where I actually eventually got, because Bambata, they had this whole thing of the fashion thing, the medallions, African medallions, the African colors.
Yeah.
And obviously the message at that time was not really a big thing, but
what it looked like.
Yeah, what it looked like. And then in the movie, you had all these guys, the break dancers, the graffiti artists. I was like, wow, what's this whole thing, And obviously, being an artist, there is always that ignition, that spike. And I think that's where it all started, really.
Yeah. I like how you brought the visual aspect into it. Like you're known for being very visual with what you do.
Yeah.
I think it was last year you had a concert. No, you had a fashion thing, but then you were performing as well.
Yeah.
And the mask and all this. So you're telling me that for you was, which one came first? Was it the music or was it just your love for arts?
I think it was a mixture of things. I've always been multidisciplinary in a way. I mean, from school, we all know that our school system is a bit vague in a way that if you're passing exams, that's the path. So all these other things that you do are, in fact, they call them co-curricular activities. But in school, in my primary, I really used to be a soloist. A soloist, in the traditional music, are the people who lead songs.
Yes.
And so I was a leader in a couple of songs. We had two leaders. There was a lady and myself.
Yeah.
I remember there was this song where I got a couple of awards at the National Theatre. Yeah. So along the way, as we do that, we're also experimenting with body paint. That's in primary. I think like in primary 5 or 6.
That's great.
You paint yourself, like body painting, and then costumes. I remember the song Takalino. The choir master made me wear this the back cloth. That was actually my first my first interaction with back cloth. And then we are painted, and then we had spears as props. So the whole concept really was always there.
Yeah.
So I would also improvise with the spears, painting them. And this was really in primary. So when the song is actually you know that kind of energy. So the energy was already there. And then, of course, there are a bit of the poetry, the bit of the story, and a bit of the folk.
Yeah.
So when I saw hip hop, really, it just brought these things
Brought everything together.
Yeah, like together. Yeah. But along the way, I thought, because I always want to be different and unique, so I thought that the art, especially the graffiti, and because I saw, there are many rappers around that time, that were beginning to come up, Clear Cut. Obviously, there was an earlier group of the Young Vibrations, the Cardo family, Questo, Sigo Black, Ibra.
Sigo.
Yeah. So all these guys were already. So I was, but even then I had not really come into play. But eventually when I came into hip hop, as we knew it, I thought I need to be different. And the difference I thought would be, I want to come into the line of graffiti, the line of fashion, and the line of poetry, spoken word. In fact, I remember most of the times at DV8, I tried to bring in the whole element of poetry, spoken word. People really were not getting it, because
DV8 was a different crowd. DV8 was different because we had that I think it was just like everyone just wanted to rap their best.
Yeah.
And people wanted to hear the best raps. So whenever you tried to bring in something different, it was
but I think it and I think it was a bit of a problem for me, because I really didn't want to rap, even though I knew I could rap. I wanted to come into the line of just to be different, like poetry, hip hop poetry,
You wanted to be
even
like
though
a
rap,
full-on artist.
exactly. Even though art, hip hop is really poetry, but I was more like, okay, poetry, of course. Last poets and all that. So, but along the way, obviously, so the synergies of all these genres, the art, the poetry, the fashion, the painting, eventually became who I am. Yeah. Because even from school, we interface with many layers of expression. So, I thought I was a bit lucky to be involved in all these. So so all my shows really are multidisciplinary. They have bits and bits of all these things
involved. Now, so that DV8 process, was that the first time you said, let me come out? Where does the name Xenson come from? DV8, was that like, how was it like with everyone who I've talked to? Their journey is, we had DV8, we had Pulse Sessions, we had this. Where was your first platform where you said, okay, this is how I'm coming out and this is who I am? Right? Like, how was that and where was that?
Yeah, I think Xenson came really, I went to Kako
Okay.
So in my S, no, that came earlier on, and originally,
Was it for rap or was it for
no, it
an
wasn't
artist name?
it was an artist name.
Uh-huh.
I didn't even know I knew I'm actually a hip hop historian.
Yes.
I knew I
We're going to
wanted
get
to
into
do
that
yeah
because we need some
to
clarification.
yeah, I needed to be but as an artist, really, not even knowing that I'll be a rapper or whatever.
Yeah.
Because I was already doing some bit of work in
Yes.
school.
Yes.
In
I mean,
terms
winning
of
awards in primary.
yeah, but also just not just the music, but in terms of graphic design or simple art. You know, in school S3, S2, you have these people like girls having birthdays or girls or boys wanting to con girls. So you know these layers of things. But then mainly girls would come to me because I had a very good handwriting.
Okay.
So and it's even funny thinking about it now. So girls would come to me to design for them cards to send to give to their boyfriends, and sometimes even to send. You know, because we had these inter-school relationships. Smack and Giza, Gayaz and Chibuli and all these things. So sending cards or birthday messages, so I started there. So and I thought I need to develop like almost like a brand. That was like actually it was in S2. So around that time I was but I was also a boxer at some point. So and then we also, in school, so many things happen. We had a group, I remember at one time, not necessarily a group of anything, but a group of boys. We are 7, just causing chaos in school. Yeah, I mean, if it's football, we are the cheerleaders. If the school is going for a game,
You'd be
we would be the ones holding drums. Yeah. So we called ourselves Mayoyo Mafaya. Yeah. And Mayoyo Mafaya was I don't remember where it came from, but it meant that we fight poor energy. Like Mayoyo Mafaya. So we had a taller guy, a footballer, then we had 2 boxers. I was also a boxer. So we are the chaotic, if there is a football match, we take the big step, we sit on the clasher, So, but then within Mayoyo Mafaya, I thought of course, some people, and that's where the name Kafolo came, because I was good at drawing and a couple of other things. Yeah, in school, obviously, I was always like the best in school. Really, like mathematics is the easiest thing for me. Physics, yeah, like 100 in mathematics easily in S4 and all that. In fact, at one point, I think in my S4, in my S4, I was really top 5 in the country. Yeah, that's crazy. I don't want to talk about that because because school is school. Yeah. So, but within Mayoyo Mafaya, some people called me Kafulu, and then there is a friend of mine. We always joked about the earliest people on earth. So somehow within that time, Zinjathropus came up. So for a long time, many people called me Zinjathropus, and then I paraphrased it to Zinja. So actually, most people, the people that we went to school with, know Zinja.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So Zinja is a name that really, for many years, I was the people that I went to school with know Zinja. So
you're the Zinja who causes chaos on social media.
Yeah, there is. but I'm incognito in a way.
Now you guys know.
Yeah. So the Zinja came up, and then in S5, that's when I was beginning, because I was beginning to make cards. I was beginning to print a few little things. So I thought Zinja was also ahead of time. Really, like people would not relate with it. Yeah. So I decided to form Xenson, which was really a combination of, or most people call it Xenson, a combination of my Samson and Senkava.
Yes, yes.
which are my names.
Your
And
names,
then I
yeah.
put an X, which I
Yeah.
called the X Factor. So the X Factor really was extreme, extravagant, explicit, exact, extracurricular, the X Factor,
okay.
like. So and that's how it started.
Yeah.
And so, and obviously some people started to call me Xenson Zinja or Xenson
Yes,
Zinja. Yeah. So, and eventually when it came to hip hop, it was already.
It was already there,
Yeah.
so it carried on.
It just carried on.
Yeah. Okay, so now your start is high school, but how do you get on the stages? What brings you on these stages that we're on?
And
like, also, which one was your first stage? Because for me, honestly, like my first stage ever was Deviate.
Yeah.
Like, and Deviate was not the simplest crowd.
Yeah, but you see, like I said, in school, there is always activity. Like
leave the school activities. I'm saying like
but I'm saying like on stage.
Yes.
Because I don't think I ever really came on stage until Sabrina days, really.
Oh wow.
Yeah, why? Because in school, I had started actually to cram some of
your favorite rappers.
Yeah, that was especially KRS-One, and it was really hardcore.
Yeah.
So I knew, but also KRS-One, I found out he was also a poet.
Mm-hmm.
Before he was a graffiti artist, before he became a rapper, and he was also a poet.
I don't need to ask who your favorite MC is.
So there is my favorite. Actually, my favorite MCs is there are two people.
Who?
I don't know if I can separate them.
Who?
One of them is Erykah Badu, which is a bit weird. I mean, and of course the other is 3 Stacks. I mean, like 100, 3,000. I mean, that's really like my favorite like rapper, really. What? I mean, there are a couple of other guys that are not even mainstream, like Dilated People. People's. I mean, they are all. I mean,
like no, for me, when you said Africa Bambaataa, when you said KRS-One, I see all that in your build up, in your
Yeah, but that was the first.
Yeah, what got you interested?
Yeah, interested.
Yeah.
But really, about the performance. So I had started cramming. So I in school, there would be parties or there would be events. So I would go on stage doing this, the poetry, the KRS-One poetry. Yeah. So I that was the first. And then when I left school, I was beginning to think, like I said earlier, that this rap thing, all these guys are rapping. There was Bataka. These guys who already had gone to Sweden, the Kado family. So I was like, and then I would come to Deviate. Obviously, there were mainly ragamuffins and a bit of rap. You guys would come in. Sylvester and Abrams would come in. And I looked at it. I was like, I need to come on as someone different. I know I can do a bit of graffiti. So I was always at DVA doing a bit of graffiti. In fact, Mukasa.
That's why I'm even surprised that your first time on stage rapping was at Sabrina.
Now that's the funny thing, because Mukasa, he was one of the not Hope.
Which one?
There was he was one of the guys organizing thing. I only at Deviate. He's a Rasta. Farah, he's a Rasta. He also used to work with DJ Brown.
Yes, of course. Oh my God.
Yeah, so there was that group. In fact, they also had a group at one point.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, so he would come and say, "You can. The walls are here. Sense on you. Enjoy yourself." So actually, I remember there was a time even new guys came and I did a graffiti. So I started to do live graffiti.
Yeah.
At Deviate.
That's fine.
There's also one time I did with when Sylvester. I don't know if you guys can even remember.
No, I remember. I'll tell you why I remember it vividly. Because I think there was a moment when someone asked you to stop during our thing.
Yeah, I think.
And it was me. It was because of me, because my breathing is.
Yes, I remember that. Okay, I remember that. Yeah, so I was always there, but you see, because the focus was mainly always on the
artist
rappers.
on stage, yes,
So
yes.
the graffiti guy would somehow just disappear. You know, people would not really.
Yeah.
But why eventually I started to rap? Actually, even before that, I was already recording.
Yes.
I remember the twins. If you know the twins,
Yes,
they were working at
Bava.
Bava Studios,
Yes.
Hope Mukasa's studio.
Yes.
We recorded a couple of songs with them before one of them, I think, went to Tanzania. I don't know where he is now. But I didn't want to perform because I wanted to, because guys were performing on tracks, you know, like Nas or Jay-Z. So I wanted to
instrumentals.
Instrumentals.
We had no original.
I know. So and I think that's also the whole essence of trying to be different and unique. I think we wanted to come out as with our own stuff.
Yeah.
And by the way, even on campus, when we were on campus, we had all these things that we wanted to do. In fact, our first group was called Rhyme Tribe.
Rhyme Tribe.
Yeah, so the idea of the Rhyme Tribe was really like almost what you would call the Ganda boys, because our costumes were supposed to be kanzus and holding and deco on stage, and that's the image. In fact, even the songs we recorded then, we had that element of, you know, more like the Bambata, Zulu nation, you know, it's African, but we thought these guys don't even have a proper culture, but we have our culture. We can bring this in. Of course, we are also looking at Bataka, because that name, man, is a grand name. It's crazy.
I was talking Saba Saba, and that name.
Yeah, that name is crazy.
Even Saba Saba.
Yeah.
Then Bataka, and
it's provocative. It's revolutionary. It's crazy.
And then they added on underground.
No, that was really like crazy. So so I was always there, not performing, but I was always really there.
Part of that.
So you can also say that I was already performing, but not on the mic.
Not as a mic. Okay. So now tell me your first recording. So the first time, I'll be honest with you, the first time I heard your songs, I was with Samurai.
Yeah.
And he's like, yo, dude, you have to hear this song. And it's more blue. But then there was also some other stuff you had been recording with Sam himself.
Yeah.
And he played me like 3 or 4 songs. And I was like, what the hell?
I know.
Is this? Because I think Sam, if you get Samurai, if like these beats that he makes are very easy. So when you challenge him, he also. So I feel like that's what happened in that session.
Yeah.
And the music, it was, I can't call it hip hop. The music,
I know,
because I think it's that third verse on Mueblo. There's something on the third verse with the instrumentation, the violins, and all that. So was that your first time recording and releasing, or did you have stuff that had been not recording and releasing, but was that your first time recording and
we had
people hearing it? What was your first experience like? Because I'm sure your style is very confusing for a regular producer.
Yeah. We had already recorded, like I said, with the twins. One of them was a producer at Bava Studios. Yeah. But you had also gone through a couple of like workshops with a Frigo band. Oh. There were a couple of workshops sponsored by sometimes the British Council. So I would find myself in there. Especially Omwana Wensen in Isewanya. Earlier on, he saw me. He liked what I was doing with the rap. Yeah, so he would invite me. So there was one Frigo. Then there was Percussion Discussion Africa. But earlier on, the twins were, I think, more Kidandali. So, but the idea, like I was saying, I had this idea of doing music like we did it in school. Because in school we had the momenganda, the drums, we had the shakers, we had the pan pipes. It was like a whole orchestra. And then you had the soloists.
African instrumentation.
Not African, but even Ugandan instrument, even Buganda, because like all these songs, like a gerenge. A gerenge, it would start with I remember it would start with a thumb,
The xylophone.
Amadinda, the xylophone.
Yeah.
Then other things would come in. So all these layers are always there in African music. It's really multiple instruments. Polyrhythms are always there. So that's the kind of music that I really wanted to do. But I wanted it to be almost traditional hip hop.
Yeah.
So the twins were more pop and chidandali in a way, So when I eventually found Samurai, I was like, what? Because some it was hip hop, and his beats were really like hip hop. So I was like, okay, hip hop and with this thing is going to be crazy. And and so it was a gelling, a proper like marriage, because we gelled together. And Samurai is a very easy guy, He's quiet, he's simple, he doesn't, if he listens to you. And I think that's how marriages work, really. That's how they really work. That sometimes you just have to listen and then contribute. So for me, it was really the perfect, So I told him these ideas that I want to do, but I told him if you can just have that bass, the hip hop beat, that bass, and then we can begin to build layers like we build in traditional music. That's why you find the music is so layered, and obviously I knew that I also want to bring in this Konkulu Uganda, and that
we'll talk about
that. So and actually that's why obviously it doesn't happen today. There is and obviously no one is doing it, but there are steps in an artist's life before you come on stage. Today, someone is thinking of a hook and a few bars. They are recording and they are beginning to perform. You had to be nurtured. There is that process of nurturing the artist where you come on stage ready and someone can see a ready product. And I think it showed. Because you guys, I saw you are coming in, but eventually
when
Dawu came in, and then and eventually when you came on stage, all of it's not like these guys are coming into themselves. They're already here, and that's why people were like, wow, and obviously. It's like looking at Juliana and Irene. People think they just come. No, they went through all these layers and they also went through competitions. By the time you see Juliana and Irene as IJ doing it and kicking crazy ass, it's because they are now
done the time.
So and I think it's for me we are looking at all these ethos of what makes an artist. Unfortunately, it doesn't work like that in Uganda. And I think that's why I wasn't coming on. I knew that if I want to come, because hip hop is a culture, it's not just the music. It has its aesthetics. You as an artist, what do you stand for? What's your imagery like? So all these layers of branding come into play. I mean, today I don't listen to much rap because first of all, there's no distinction. All rappers sound almost the same. The beats are almost the same. But back then, Wu-Tang Clan, the sound of Wu-Tang Clan and their imagery and their presence on stage, you would know that's Wu-Tang. If it was Snoop, or if it was, everyone had an image. Outkast. Outkast and their image, you would know this is Outkast. Dead Praise. All these guys had an image. They had a sound.
They protected it.
They protected and they believed it. And I thought that I need to come out with the sound. In fact, with Rhyme Tribe, with a couple of my other friends who are doing other things now, really was we wanted to come with this weird presence on stage. Like we come with things, you know how art can be crazy. Yeah. So
You touched on something that I've always wanted to have a conversation with you about.
Yeah.
When you're talking about rap nowadays, right? Let's leave international rap, Ugandan rap.
Yeah.
Who are you listening to? Are you also still not listening? And I'm not talking about like me or
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, like the younger guys. Who are you listening to? Who are you interested in? Who do you think needs more classes? Like you're the type you are the guy I want to have this conversation with, because I know you're the guy who's going to be honest about it.
Yeah.
Like, so let's have a conversation.
Well, there are many guys that have potential.
Yeah.
But they are distracted by the industry forces because of the need to be seen and to make a living and all this. But so there are pressures around it. But I listen. There is Jim Nora. Jim Nora was I think that guy is crazy, but he needs the proper bit of management, proper production.
Yeah.
I'm sure he would really, really like go far. Then there is people might not listen to him much in terms of hip hop, also because of management and where he comes from. But the agent,
okay, yeah.
I think his flow, is
for someone who raps like that,
almost like Busta Rhymes.
Yeah, it's incredible how much knowledge he puts in.
Exactly. So the agent reminds me of Busta Rhymes. Who is this fastest rapper? I forget. Twitter. And then also I think Eminem. So with proper management and proper beat understanding, and also knowing that it's not just about also rapping fast.
Yeah.
But it's also about if it's a story, how do you put it out there? It's not that everything is fast, but he has the potential.
Yeah.
Obviously, there is there are a couple of other people I follow. There is this, I think he's Mugisu or he's Big Ben. I think he has potential. But again, really management and nurturing. These people need a bit of that. The other one, I listen to him, is a bit, I like it because he's active, because I like because also they're active. Because, rappers, even including myself, I think we are lazy, because we think people will come to us. We need to take music to the people. Like what Kidandali people do. Hip-hop has potential in fact, it had potential to take over. But we're a bit slow and reserved, but we need to put in that energy. Because Kidandali, for instance, you will find all these musicians when someone has a show, they are all there. Supporting and keeping.
Very true.
So the guy I wanted, but he needs to really grow up a bit. I don't know if he's a bit young or rap knowledge. Judas. I think he's yet to be there, but I think he has potential, really. But I also like him because he's active. He tries to, in his own way, to push things, invoke a feeling there, invoke a feeling there, It might be good, but it can't be that.
Yeah. At times it has to be.
It has to be like the music. Push your music. Don't, it might be good, but it make good music.
Yeah.
Go up. So Luga Flow, obviously there is this other guy that at least I see a bit from Massacre. Saint Maximin.
If you hadn't mentioned him.
Yeah.
So good you mentioned him, because
I'm mentioning, but also I have
one more who I'm waiting for you to mention. But
I can't look. I know that I follow a bit and listen, but it's still even Saint
Maximin.
He needs to come into himself.
Yeah.
Like he's good and he has potential, but he's in the shadows of someone else in a way, because of the flow. You see, these are the things. Cadence. No one sounds like Mith, but if your flow, your especially the flow, your cadence, your wit, your punchlines, if they sound like someone else, then you're in the shadow of that someone. So you need to come into yourself.
To figure yourself out.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's why, like, I used to like Mulekwa, the late, because he would come and tell his own story, weird story, going in the weird direction.
Yeah.
You know, like, and that became him, you know?
Yes.
Yeah. Obviously, GNL became GNL because of his, you know?
Yes.
And obviously, Babaluku became, he has this. So you need to create your own story.
Who are you?
Who are you?
This,
What story are you? Yeah. So you need to, and I think that's another problem where rappers today, because someone is hitting, they all sound like that.
Yeah.
I don't think, I remember there was a time when everyone sounded like Mutuju.
Yes.
Even now, and then all of a sudden everyone sounds like GNL.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
Yeah.
You know, you need to find your own true voice, really. Yeah.
There's I'm going to just throw out names to you because I'm surprised you didn't mention.
Yeah, because there are many rappers. I have a list of
Tushi
200
Nabachala.
rappers.
Tushi. Nabachala. Polo.
Nabachala have had. Okay, I don't know. I also confused. But I know 7 Star.
Yes, Joey.
And then I know the lady, the tiny lady, King Missy.
Yes.
So Nabachala, really, I might know, but
I think you do.
this is the other question. Where does someone go to listen to hip hop?
The thing about Tushi is she's notorious for being on stage. She's always on stage. Like, I'm sure you've been at something where she has been on stage, but you got there maybe late, or she,
okay.
She's always on stage.
But I think that takes us to the point that rappers need to wake up, and push and push and be like the Kidandali guys and support each other, be everywhere.
Yeah.
I think it's necessary because I'm the person who doesn't believe in underground. Uganda doesn't have really underground because it's a very small space.
For me, I believe everything is underground. Even those who have managed to go up, even the Chidandali, I believe it's underground.
Yeah, but underground is a concept.
Well,
it's a mentality. In the US, it's those dope people that you don't find in mainstream or that are not signed to record labels. That's understandable. It's underground because there is the distinction is there.
The machine.
There's the machine, but here there's no machine. You can. It's who you know. It's the connections. The connect. Can you play my song? Can you? Who is the programmer here? Who is the program director there? So there's not really. If you decide to push, you can push, and if you decide to stay on the table, you'll stay on the table. So there is no proper machine because even our industry is not really like developed. It's not a proper industry with proper mechanisms. So it's a level playing ground. It's up to you to up your game and push. This thing really needs pushing. And if we have 75% young people, it means hip hop should be the ultimate genre right now. Because young people's voice is hip hop. So, but the rappers sit and these other people borrow all the elements of hip hop, the dressing, the slang. I mean, look at Alien Skin now. He's totally hip hop. The dressing, the lingua, everything really.
I remember I had that same conversation with someone, I've forgotten who, and I said it's crazy that even corporate Uganda, like, remember the Kabiditi was initially My Bling Bling when they had Bobby handling it. They were like, My Bling Bling, and it was, and I was like, that's hip hop slang.
Bobby is really hip hop.
His slang is so hip hop.
He's hip hop. Even the way he writes the music, it's hip hop.
I don't think he does 8 bars with the 4.
Yeah, it's like eight, sometimes 4, 16, sometimes 8, sometimes 16. In fact, there is that song, Bibuzo.
Yes.
Of course, that was typical hip hop.
Yeah.
But even most of his songs actually
the
have
writing,
that element, the writing. Of course, it has elements of Kadonkam.
Yeah.
But also, really, most importantly, and all these other guys really. So hip hop better really wake up. Really, really, really.
Where do you think? What do you think we need to do more of? Right after these last hip hop awards, a lot of the conversation on social media, a lot of conversations on like artists releasing their music was they wish the older acts supported the younger acts more. A lot of them said that. There's a rapper, Larry the Real, he was on radio with, and Babaluko happened to be there, and they had a discussion about, because he's a new act, Babaluko obviously is this legendary act. Yeah. They had this discussion about how best to come together, how to support one another. What do you think? Where do you think is the disconnection with hip hop?
The disconnection actually, and I'll go back to the history a bit.
Yeah.
Is we need a bit of leadership.
Yeah.
And I will take you back to, you remember Deviate.
Mm-hmm.
After Deviate, around that time there was the Palm Award coming up.
Yes.
And it was all messy.
Yeah.
So after Obsessions winning, guys, the rappers now started to wake up because this was touching on the,
Yeah.
It was
because they beat us,
Saba,
Lyrical
G. So even me, I was like, what the hell is happening? So what happened is guys eventually, so guys came together, and I remember we had a couple of meetings. Joe Isavidye, the late P-Tech, myself, MMC,
yes.
And I think you guys, a couple of you came around, Jeff Ekongot.
Yeah.
So after the Palm Award, I remember that meeting, the first meeting was actually at Deviate. We had a meeting, we need to do something for this thing.
Yeah.
So we kept meeting a bit, and obviously some people are busy, and I think you guys were still in school or whatever. But we found ourselves that we were consistently meeting 5 people consistently for the next 3 months. Just to find a way forward for hip hop, because there is no way Obsessions could get a hip hop award when there is Lyrical G, there is Clear Cut. How the hell can that happen? And so the leadership started to form,
yes.
And that was the beginning of the forming of the Hip Hop Foundation.
Yes.
So because we found that we are 5 people meeting daily, so we said, why don't we guys become the patrons and start this thing? So and then eventually we formed the Uganda Hip-Hop Foundation. Of course, you know the names. So and then we said,
say the names, not
yeah,
me.
okay, well, myself, Saba, Crazy Native then, Jeff Chiwa, Jeff Ekongot, P-Tech Mwanda,
yes.
And Francis Agawa. And I'll tell you why this. You see, some people think hip hop is just the music, but hip hop is a culture, and also that's why I'm saying hip hop needs a bit of leadership. Not leadership as in the president and the what. No, leadership as in someone pushing this thing. Because everyone is on their own, but when there needs to be someone mobilizing to bring things together. Because Agaba Francis was a hip-hop historian and a hip-hop graphic artist.
I didn't know he did graphics.
Yes, he did graphics, not graffiti.
Yeah, I didn't know he did graphics.
He knew all the formations. You see, between me and him, we had the biggest collection of Source magazine. And for him, he wanted to go into. In fact, at one point, we made 3 limited edition copies. In fact, I have all of them of hip hop, literature and magazine. Ugandan Hip-Hop.
Oh wow!
So he was very passionate.
Yeah.
So he would order for Source all the. In fact, he had like probably 200 Source magazines. I also have around 200 or even more.
I probably have more than both of you. But
No. Look, okay, I'm just being modest, but I think I'll show you. I have a whole. It might even be 500 like copies because we subscribed.
Yeah.
So Francis was really like a very passionate hip hop person. He was not a rapper. He was not, but he was just. Oh, and of course, you know Jeff. Jeff had rapped a bit.
Yeah,
when
I
he
didn't know
was
Jeff
still-
rapped.
Yeah, he used to be a rapper.
The time I met Jeff, he was very, you know, the shirts tucking in. He was very about writing about the culture.
Yeah, but also now the thing is
Documenting it.
exactly.
Yeah.
So and I will come to Jeff again. So the idea was Francis actually we registered the Uganda Hip-Hop Foundation in 2003,
Okay.
and you see I hear all these clubs, WUMA and all these. We registered in 2003. We had the constitution. In fact, that constitution was read on the very first hip hop night that we had. We read the constitution. We read the year calendar, what we are going to do. Yeah. So eventually, when we eventually formed the foundation, we went out and looked for people who could
join and help. Yeah.
Could join or give us space.
Yeah.
Because we said, okay, our first activity to begin to bring hip hop together and for people to know each other, fellowship, we need a hip hop night.
Yeah.
We wrote like 67 letters to many people, you know, like to spaces everywhere. And guess what? Only one person, and God bless Hope Mukasa.
Yeah.
He's the only guy who said, okay, you guys come and we talk and tell me what you guys want to do. Yeah. So we told him you see, hip hop should be big in Uganda because young people are many, but people are also misrepresenting hip hop.
Yeah.
But also hip hop has something to say, you know, like
the South got something.
These are young people, but they are part of the broader Ugandan culture. They should be part of the collective memory of our society, you know?
Yeah.
And we don't have a voice. So Hope said, okay, I have, most of my days are busy, but I have a Tuesday. Nothing happens on a Tuesday. So we said, that's perfect. If he can give us a Tuesday, why not? So we started. And the good thing is I have documented most of these things. So he gave us a Tuesday to hold the hip-hop night. So from that, we knew we had a place now. People can come. You bring in your song. Of course, we had a plan. And I'll go to P-Tech. P-Tech was, at that time, was running Music Uganda, the website. In fact, it was the first, not just in terms of music, but a Ugandan website. Leave alone running music. So he offered to run activities of Ugandan hip-hop on the site. So you can, of course, he was also a rapper, and his brother, of course, is MMC. So there was always that connection. So you find that, and then Jeff, of course, Jeff had given up a bit of the rapping, and we are being strategic because Jeff was the bigger of all of us. We are very tiny, so we thought, okay, we need, if to hook these corporate guys, we need some guy who can dress properly and enter into this corporate office and present the case. And we managed. Around that time, we got some sponsorship from WBS to support. So that very year, 2004, we launched the Hip Hop Night. And then that very year, we launched the Hip Hop Summit. Yeah. We also launched, actually, what people call the Hip Hop Canvas was a project that we started, actually. Yes. And we were, of course, eventually, because we also were not looking at the money or whatever, because we didn't even have a bank account. So around that time, Shadrach was watching what was happening. Yeah. And that guy he was working with, GTZ, I forget his name. He's the guy who brought the money and eventually linked up with Shadrach because he said, look, I know these guys, I know. So we did the first auditions of the Hip Hop Canvas. In fact, it was up there. I think either it was, I forget, No End, where, that's
more on the road.
So from that moment, we were doing things underground for hip hop, but people really didn't know. We would bring in journalists, people to write, Bate, all these guys. People were just seeing things. I know that you guys were already doing things, but you also help to support, to come, because you are the big guys really. And you would come. I mean, everyone would be happy to see clear cut. And I have that image. I will share with you that image.
Please.
Yeah. Alliance also helped a bit.
Yeah.
So for many years, people didn't know that actually hip hop was growing, because every rapper that came out, probably apart from Clear Cut, really, including GNL and all these guys, really came through that Sabrina stage. And the hip hop night.
I think we came through the hip. So what happened was, we weren't in the country. Then when we came back, Papito was here. I think we had left Papito here alone. And I think the day I landed, the first time Papito calls me, he's like, "Yo, dude, it's a Tuesday. We're going to Sabrina's." I'm like, "Guy." I'm just like, "What's at Sabrina's?" He's like, "No, we're going. This thing is happening." And I remember getting there. I was having a conversation with Saba. I remember getting there. And this is my first time at this thing, and I'm sitting in the back. I'm looking. I'm like, wow. Like, because you remember what we left.
Yeah.
You said it properly. Deviate. Yes, we had hip hop sprinkled in there.
Exactly.
But it was Chidanda.
Exactly.
Now coming back, and it's a hip hop night.
Exactly.
And it's Mitch on stage, and it's introducing the artists, and it's whoever, and it's Saba. I remember that day it was Saba who was on stage, and he said, "Yeah, we're doing this." The screen was showing the Smack DVD.
Exactly, yeah.
So he's like, "Yeah, we have a battle. So we're going to do a battle today." And he says, "In fact, I see my brother Papito is in town, and he came back. He came with the Mith. We're going to battle."
I remember.
I'm trying to get my feet wet. I'm still jet lagged. I'm there like this. I'm like, "We're going to battle."
Wow, that was crazy.
Papito, for him, Papito is a cheat code, because he knows his French and Swahili.
Yeah, I know.
He gets up on stage, he raps it was Lyrical G and Saba versus Papito and
the Mith. Wow. I remember that.
I get there and bloody Saba. It's so chaotic.
I know.
We get there and Lyrical G and Papito just rap verses.
Yeah.
And they stand on the side, and Saba looks at me.
Let me have this one.
Yeah. I'm looking at this guy.
For supper.
I'm like, what the? But I think because I had also just been where I was doing, it was so weird, because that from January, because it was March that time. From Jan, I was doing shows, but all we were doing was battling.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at this guy dissing me, and I'm like, okay.
Baptism of fire. Yeah, but so
great stuff.
So a lot of things happened. We also tried to take the hip hop summit to Tanzania. In fact, we had one. We also went to Nairobi. We tried to get some funding from World Bank. There's a friend of ours. Then of course Saba through also the foundation went to South Africa. Yeah. So there are many things that were happening. Yeah. So we also wrote to the Palm Awards, and we gave in our definition of hip hop and who should be nominated. So we are doing a lot of things, and for many years. So I think today we really need that kind leadership. Where rappers?
Where is the foundation now?
Yeah, no, the foundation.
I could ask, why isn't
so
it involved?
now the foundation, and this is where it becomes bitter, because as you might know, along the way, we, at least personally, we embraced the Bavubuka Foundation. Yes. Baba came in, and but then Baba, either knowingly or not, he kind of created this divide. English and Luganda rappers or local. I know he loved this whole concept of
English and Luganda.
So that divide became so big.
I remember one of the summits at National Theatre. There's that room down there, the green room. I remember I'm there, and this rapper comes up to me, and he's from Soroti, and he's like, "Yo, dude." Because Babaluku was talking, and he said something about like, English Luganda, that's what we're pushing. I mean, it's Luganda rap, that's what we want. And this, so I'm sitting again, and I'm also leaving the country. I think I was leaving the country that day. And I'm looking at him like, this is crazy for him to just speak like that in English.
Yeah.
Right? To speak in English, dissing English rappers, saying everyone should speak in Luganda. So he's sitting there and he's talking. And I remember this kid comes up to me and he's like, yo, bro, I'm a rapper from Sorority. I say, okay, dope.
Yeah.
Then he says, can you get up on stage and defend us? I say, huh? He says, because he's saying Luganda, I don't speak Luganda. I speak English and my language.
And my language, yes.
Right? He's like, I can speak Luganda to get by. I'm not fluent in it.
Yeah.
But like, you have to defend other languages. Yeah. And I'm like, bro, I was waiting for computer. I was like, I'm trying to tell you that. But then when we did, I remember I got on stage and I said, yeah, I'm an English rapper, but also I want to look at myself as a Ugandan rapper.
Yeah.
So if tomorrow I want to rap in my mom's language, my mom is a Munyole.
Yeah.
Right. So if I want to rap in Lunyole, I don't want to be looked at as you're not Ugandan.
Exactly.
Right. But that divide. Yes,
yeah. So what happened was, obviously there are many layers to that.
Yeah.
So I mean, Baba eventually, because he used to support a bit on especially the hip hop summit.
Yeah.
So, but along the way, the thing just drastically went down. There was that divide between the English, which in a way was orchestrated really by Baba and the Bavubuka Foundation, really. So it started, and I remember you guys, especially Nav, you said, okay, we are Yuga Flow. So in fact, but also because for me, I was really pro hip hop. Yeah. In fact, I'm the one who designed Navio's. He wanted to make a logo for Yuga Flow. So I designed him a logo. I think I have the sketches somewhere. So he came to me, man, Xenson, I don't like this beef, this whole thing, but Yuga Flow, you need. We talked, so I designed. It had a map of Uganda and this,
with red flag.
Yeah, a red. Yeah, because and then how along the way, some people felt marginalized, especially the English rappers, and then there were a couple of other things that came up, rumors, and so the thing started to disintegrate, and we had spent almost 5, 6, 7 years of our lives rebuilding the thing, and for me, I had given up on myself. And on my career, really. Because we were just thinking hip-hop night, thinking hip-hop summit, thinking hip-hop needs to take over. In fact, we also had started a bit of the tours, going Gulu, Mbarara, but we didn't have money. Because sometimes even you would get so little money and give rappers transport. Those are going to Kawempe, you give them 1K. There are many guys that we gave a bit of money. Not that we had, but we want people to come back. Yeah, keep coming back. I remember that time even JNL was living in Kawempe. So there were all multitudes of rappers, but the movement was going because that was also the place to launch a new song. Guys, we would know all our songs. Yes. Saba would launch Tujabab. I came up with Mueblo. You guys, I remember that time. You guys came up with that ruckus. So the synergy was really positive and good. So and for me, we eventually, and what also broke the camel's back was obviously we lost P-Tech. So we lost P-Tech, and then I was beginning to feel a bad vibe, like bad energy because
P-Tech was.
Yeah, by the time we were on the 8th or 9th, then the summit had become something else. Because the name and the brand was beginning. Now it had become Bavubuka Hip-Hop Summit. And we used I used to talk a bit with Baba, but Baba, why don't you maintain the earlier Uganda Hip-Hop Summit? It's the Uganda Hip-Hop Summit. It's not a Bavubuka. But it started to be Bavubuka Hip-Hop. Then it eventually became Uganda Bavubuka hip hop, then eventually it became indigenous, big global in Uganda hip hop summit, So already I felt a bad vibe, a bad energy, and I was neglecting my drive.
Your career.
So I decided it's okay. And around that time, Francis you become responsible people, you need to take care of your brothers and whatever. So he was beginning to get into graphic design. He started his own company. So we found that this thing, it might not, right now with all this energy, it's not sustainable. I decided to say, I'm going to focus on my fashion. In fact, that's very time I started to do my fashions, my sketches. Before I knew it, I was in Paris Fashion Week. I was in New York. I was in most of West Africa, of course, through Alliance and Mr. Martin.
Yes.
I went to West Africa fashion shows here in Nairobi. I was winning awards. I was going to Johannesburg Fashion Week. I was like, wow. And all that happened after I had really kind of given up because there was a bit of that bad energy.
The energy, yeah.
So, but of course, after a couple of years, I thought, but this, all the time we spent, can it just run like this? Yeah. So I decided, it's okay, for now, I'm just going to try and document what we had done and maybe make a museum, whatever little. So that's when, you remember, I started to collect paraphernalia, like anything, Ugandan hip-hop. And I've been doing that. But also last year, I thought, okay, but we are celebrating 50 years of Ugandan hip-hop. What's going to happen?
Yeah.
So last year, I was beginning to say, okay, we need to... In fact, it's a show I've been planning. I know I was saving a bit of money to do like a celebration and reunion. We are all, especially guys who used to come to Sabrina's, because I believe that there are still people following hip-hop. It's just that like you are saying, all these new rappers, I don't know where to find them. We don't know how to release. They are not. I know there is the social media, but I think we need the physical space. We need hip hop nights. We need hip hop shows. I mean, I see people organizing hip hop awards. How do you organize a hip hop award if there is no platforms to spot talent? I know you can't just look on the socials and say, okay, the nominations. We need a platform because hip hop is also. It's that ciphers it's communication, it's community. So it's something I've been totally looking at. And even this year, probably, if all goes well, we do some kind of celebration and reunion. And for me, the icing this year really was the Navio,
the concert. Yes.
Because, and that showed me that actually this thing can be done. People want it, and there is still a energy and zeal for hip hop, and we just need to wake up and organize. Because when I was I got these goosebumps, because everyone I was meeting, these are guys we used to perform for. These are guys who would come to DVH. These are guys who loved Clear Cut, because you guys had a couple of shows. I remember. And these are the people I knew I was seeing. So to see them come, I was like, wow, the energy is still actually there. It's there. We just have to. Exactly. We have to harness it. I think we need to harness this energy, and I think but that can only be done through leadership. Leadership doesn't mean you fall in a certain category or with a certain clique or group or a record label. No, it's like the Kidandali. I believe their organization or their leadership is the big volume, the guys who organize them. Because for them it's often, so they keep. Gundi has a show then, and you'll see. So there is that leadership from mainly the promoters, so-called promoters. So we need something, and for hip hop it hasn't really happened. Shadrach had kind of become the kingpin, but also he got a bit of disappointed, and so he got saved and went into gospel. He's now trying to push the gospel hip hop kind of thing, and I think we need And he had become a leader because now people were looking up to him with Keko and with GNL and all these.
Don MC.
Yeah. So we need a kind of leadership. I mean, I know that you guys, I mean, Navio is pushing his thing, but he has a lot on his plate. Mith has a lot on his plate. But it could be a rapper, but it could also be someone neutral. To just organize, say, okay, shows, or meetings, or ciphers. I know that Ali tries a bit, but you see, hip hop also needs, and it's very important, a purist or someone who is very passionate about. I know Ali has a lot on his plate. He's a businessman. He has all these gigs, concerts, Nyege, and so. But you need, for hip hop, really, you need first its passion. People who are not looking to gain a quick buck. Like, let me organize some award, I'll make some cash show. It needs someone who understands the culture, because it's a culture.
It is, yeah.
And as long as people don't understand, and that's why even Uganda, in a way, I think, has failed to understand hip hop because of the aesthetics. We have our commandments. If it's a cover design, you trust me, you can spend 2 months just thinking of the cover design or how the graphic is going to look like. You might even go to 4, 5, because for us it's really it's part of the culture. The releasing songs, we don't just release songs. You even invite guy, listen to this song. So some guy will give you feedback, then you will probably go back and
clean up.
So because hip hop is that, aesthetically, how we dress, how we, even on stage, with Mueblo people, many guys called me to perform, but I knew that
they were not going to understand.
Because you come, first of all, the guy gives you 2 minutes. The song, you do half of it, or even a quarter of it, and then you have to go. But then you also have to look at the aesthetics. What
stage am I getting on? How does it look like?
Exactly. But also but again, it's also playing devil's advocate. Much as that happens, we need to also begin to penetrate. Also to stop. I know that there is, as a purist, I know what hip-hop is. I know who a good rapper might be. I know a good hip-hop beat. I know a storyteller. I know if someone is distinct. Like, I know no one can rap like Mith. I know no one speaks. I mean, I can easily predict Mith, his flow, his cadence. I just listen, that must be Mith. Or that must be Navi. Or that's Saba. So we need to cultivate all these layers. But as we do that, let's embrace, because now we need to be listened to. So we can embrace so-called rappers, but that are not necessarily purists. I mean, like Omutuju. If Mith did a song, there's
that crazy conversation online where people say, is Gravity a hip hop act? Because he'll get nominated. He's constantly nominated. What do you think? Is it good to have him? Because I think it's great.
But the thing is, I think it's great. It's always like they say, no news, there's no bad publicity, no bad news, Because the thing, I always told rappers, for instance, because part of the disappearance, I can't go on a stage like that, or I can't rap with Gond on stage. But I'm like, okay, so if they say Gravity is a rapper, and you also think you're a better rapper, get on the same stage, or even get on the same song, and then let people decide. So, but also the thing is, you share the shine. If I'm on a stage where Gravity is,
his fans
are there. But if you think you're a better rapper, or you're the real rapper, then prove yourself. Because when Omtuju comes on, people, then when they hear Mith, they will say, I told you guy Yabadewa, I told you guy Yani. Because exactly.
You bring that
energy.
You get yourself into that conversation.
People are just going, And if Mutuju is not good, then people, because good is good, people bajja gamba bulijjo Mutuju atufera. Naye ate bw'aba nga ye abantu bwe bamanyi nti ye rapper, you have no audacity to take it away from him. Plus, he's pushed himself to be there.
Be on this
and,
level, yes.
And so he's the alternative. You guys have not come up to give an alternative view. You know, but also I think these guys are rappers. It's just that, of course,
they're playing the game.
They're playing the game. You have to play the game, you know. At the end of the day, really, especially if hip-hop is your survival, you have to play the game. I know some of us don't want to sell out, and that can happen. But in terms of sampling, I think hip-hop owns the copyright to sampling. So, yes, sometimes they might overdo it, but it's at the end of the day, it's fusion, it's sampling. Of course, sometimes it's too much shidandali, you hear it, but embrace it, work with these people, and come through and present who you are.
Your version.
Exactly.
I think one thing I've always said is like hip-hop with collaborations, it's the only genre which works with all genres.
Exactly.
Like if a pop song, if it's a pop song and they put hip hop on it, it sounds weird.
Exactly.
If it's a hip hop song and you put pop on it, it works.
Exactly.
Right? And that's the thing that people don't understand.
Because it's the root. It's the ethos. It's in the foundation. I mean, most of these rappers really, especially the DJs, sample jazz records, sample rhythm and blues records. You know? So that's where it starts. So there is room to explore and experiment with, you know, orchestra. That's why even for traditional music, it becomes so easy.
It becomes bro. That project with Percussion Discussion Africa.
I know.
Wait, let's get to your music. You played
me
2 songs.
There is a lot we can talk.
You played me 2 songs earlier. But let's talk about Muwe Bro.
Yes.
Let's talk about that goddamn song. What was your inspiration for that song? And what message were you trying to give? What was your inspiration? What message were you trying to give?
Obviously, first of all, I was trying to be poetic.
Yeah. But I know there's a kadabolo meaning.
Exactly, there. Poetic, but also in a clever way.
Yeah.
In a cheeky.
Yes.
More like it's like candy and the color, and you never know the repercussion. So for me, I was playing on this easy, and then you're attracted by this cheekiness, but actually it hits you with you know, like so that was really the that's where I was coming from. But of course, I tend to come from a more conscious.
Yes, of course.
Because most of the people that I listen to are
they have a
conscious rappers. They're message driven.
Yes.
Yeah. Not to say that other things are not, because life is not just about that. But so I obviously, let's face it, there is a lot that was happening, and these are many years ago, really. And for me also the message, I was trying to look at a song that transcends time, and a song that transcends time always doesn't really have. It shouldn't be trendy. So that trend was not there at that time, really. So I was, and you can imagine I was also beginning. I was tapping into still the traditional, yeah. So basically that was it. I wanted to talk about issues then. I think that song was what, 2009, 2000. Look, there were some in terms of the consciousness of the space, political, social. As a rapper, the onus is on me. I think it's my obligation to, as a mirror of society, to talk about these issues. But I wanted to find a clever way where it's not confrontational, but it comes, it hits home. So, and then you have to be clever and you have to think a lot. And I think that's what creativity really is also is about, to know how to package this this message. And so and basically that was, that's how it came up. It's just that also I was working on an album.
Yes.
So that Weblo kind of also just leaked. Because the time it came out as in Paris, actually. I think I was doing some residence in fashion or wherever.
That's a flex, but go on.
Yeah. So I when I came back, and many people didn't know that I would rap, or because most people know fashion or graffiti.
Yes. Your graffiti. There's one time I was at Diamond Trust, and I'm seeing Xenson on the wall. I'm like, who is tagging?
I know.
What was those metal things? On
yes.
The just Xenson everywhere. I'm like, this guy is tagging the country.
Yeah, trying to it's basically to give character to the city, because cities should have character.
Yes,
and obviously part of the character are the cultural spaces, but also the people living. We are not living forests.
Yeah.
So it's one way of beautifying, but also creating a character for the city, really. I mean, it might be conceptual that people might not really understand it, but the fact that you even talk about it, but it's also had at some point it had a bigger scare, where people thought maybe these are codes for because there are bombings and stuff. So some people thought maybe these are codes for
places to hit.
For terrorists or whatever, or meeting spaces, like so. But I was having fun, really. Yeah, but also because being an artist, I think it's like in school where in toilet you write never forget, or Gundi was here, so you remember those?
No, I don't.
Even on desks, but in the toilet, never forget. You remember those things? So you come and you're like, who the hell is this one trying to remind that? But I think cities should really, cultural spaces are part of what makes cities, really. Yes. They define cities. And so are the artists, the music. So you find that, for instance, Kampala city is really, really a dull, misplaced city in terms of culture. I mean, everyone knows that you can go maybe National Theatre if you want to, especially with the jam session.
Is it there anymore?
I don't know if it is. So, but you would know that every Monday. Yeah. And then with hip hop, you would know that. And this is the funny thing. That's every Tuesday. If someone came in from Ghana or from South Africa or from Kenya, if you say, man, I want to go out, what do you want to listen? I want hip hop, urban, say, Sabrina's every Tuesday. So if he came on Sunday, he would know Tuesday, rappers, hip hop. Poetry, if you know, I know there was Kwivuga, it had started at Gatomata, so you would know. And these are very important. Sometimes we just look at the politics and the buildings, and we forget about like the sports centers, the cultural spaces. We need to build. In fact, in Kampala, there is no cultural link. I mean, like in Paris, first of all, you would know with the Eiffel Tower, already this is a sculpture that is a representation of the city of Paris, then the Statue of Liberty, in New York. So these Rio de Janeiro with the Christ the Redeemer. So and a couple of other layers within the city.
I think what we've done a bad, like how you were talking about Moeblo, what inspired it. Like we've also done a bad job at talking about spaces like the museum, the National Theatre. We have left these things to go away. That's why a conversation of knocking it down, knocking these spaces down can be brought up because we are not fighting.
Exactly.
Like, one of the things that bothers me is there's no more one day. I mean, one day.
Exactly. But this is
But that
the thing.
one day.
Exactly.
That one day.
Exactly. Now, one day, people might just look at it, but it's a culture.
Yeah.
It forms part of the fabric. It's yeah, they form part of the fabric of the city. And I think, especially now with young people, that's why I think with hip hop, we need to create a new, whatever it takes, a kind of new meeting space, a new fellowship, a new hip hop night where people can come and express themselves. Really, it's necessary. And then from that's where people get the energy to even be on radio. You know, for instance,
and radio will come there.
Radio, exactly.
Because what is this buzz that's happening?
Exactly.
Yeah, radio will come.
Yeah.
That's what really happened, because
exactly
television saw us at DV8, and when we went saying we have an album, and they were very welcoming to
exactly.
or will support, because we know we've seen.
Yeah, but also going back to also Mueblo, and it reminds me, you know, we had Chogam.
Yes.
So
yes.
obviously, as a rapper, but also as a concerned citizen, I was looking at a few years, because Chogam was 2007. So 2 years down the road, everything was almost dilapidated. So I was like, this is wasted money.
Yeah.
Potholes started to come back. There had been a bit of security with the SFC. No, not SFC. There are those blue. They were like what? Local defense. Local defense guys were all over Kampala. So security, you know, gulu. So I was looking at this. I need to talk about this thing. So Mueblo was really that. But like I was saying, I wasn't here to push it. And
it became its own
then
animal.
It became its own animal. And then we had done a video with Donald. And then the video leaked to WBS. And then, however, there was Bush Baby and a couple of, and there is another guy who was in Tanzania. Trust me, it was Tanzania to nawakilisha the East African TV. It played Mueblo like crazy. I mean, like every time I was passing somewhere, I would East Africa TV. I would see Mueblo. I was like, you know. But I think along the way, I think this energy needs. I mean, like even in the States now, the older rappers are big. We need to also lead by example. I know sometimes people don't want to learn but I think we need to be intentional in teaching the young people the ethos of hip hop, the foundation. It's not about just bragging and being all over the place. I think it's looking into the creativity, knowing your sound, what do you want to stand for, what's your imagery like, you know, and then you be intentional and push it, you know. So by so doing, I think because I mean Nas these past few years, almost 3-4 albums, 6. So you can imagine, yeah. So you have projects coming up. So I think we need to
start showing,
and I think also for me, it was the reason that I started to perform. Because I remember at Sabrina's, I used to tell guys, like, look, hip-hop is poetry. But they would say, oyayogera chi, atugamba chi, ochitegera. So people, if you don't act by example, people don't really value you, or so you need to be to be an example. So that's why I started to eventually perform. Because I knew I could perform, but people need to, before you can even inspire them, you need to really do it.
To show it.
Yeah, to show. Exactly. So, and I think even with this album, you are asking about the three songs. So this album, it's also really to show the young cats who are coming up that I know that today the industry is about singles and throwing things and looking for a hit song to be all over the place, TikTok and wherever. But for me, especially that's why I also like the concept of the copyright law to work, because I never thought that okay, I would really be performing and to earn a living. I knew that once in a while I would throw a show that has all these artistic elements. It doesn't have, it might be even 2, 3, 4 years. I mean, like Sade. Sade has performances almost, even albums every after 10, 12 years. But her music is there. So because we shouldn't look at now, we should look at posterity, really. More like Poker Pharaoh and Basude. Afrigo. Yeah. I mean, like why I'm saying, because these are gone, but their music,
Yes,
Basude is still with us, but it's also good music.
Yes,
it's
yes.
not that kind of bubblegum cue
You go and the music goes. Yeah.
So and for hip hop, I think we need to begin to create good music, not rushed, and also be ourselves. Because now the pressure is on TikTok, hit song, TV here, TV there, booking here, booking there. So we need to stick a bit to what hip hop is, really.
Yeah. Man, Xenson.
I mean, there is a lot we could talk about.
Listen, thank you so much for just even coming through and having a conversation with us. When can the new project, when can we expect it? You're a busy man.
Yeah.
When can we expect that project? How are you presenting it? And
really, it should be before the end of the year.
Yeah.
And I know I'm going to borrow a lot, to learn a lot from you with your previous system, though you haven't even given it to me yet. System. So, and obviously also I have a finger to pick with Navio, Mubuza numbers, paka kati.
Navio has the same number from...
No, sing numbers. The album.
Oh.
Hey, Mujimubuza numbers. What is it? What's it?
Strength in numbers.
Strength in numbers.
Oh.
You can imagine. That's an old, So, yeah. So,
That's
but
2020.
Yeah. But time flies. That's because me. I want to have
He did that 2020 March,
and then vote.
Ugandan 2020 September.
Wow! And then vote. So I haven't gotten those two albums. And me, I want to collect albums as soon as they come out.
This museum of yours, this hip hop museum, I feel like we need to come and just see what you have. Like I feel like I should bring these cameras and we.
No, not yet, because. Definitely, if that's this time, it will come where everyone, even you guys, I'm still collecting things.
Stuff,
but definitely we will come, because it's not about me. It will really be a celebration. It's like these 50 years that I want to celebrate. It's not about me, but it's
Uganda
about
what? Celebrations. Okay.
50 years Uganda celebrates.
Celebrates. Okay.
Yeah, so it's basically to bring guys together.
Yeah.
It might be even a simple thing like a party. We have a DJ play Ugandan music, rappers
Ugandan
come in,
hip-hop.
people, Ugandan hip hop. People who love hip hop just come, have a party. Those who want to maybe cypher or maybe a couple of performances. Not really something that is written in stone, but
There's something I'll add you on.
Yeah.
Because I feel like you will help guide it the right way. There are two things this year.
Yeah.
No, Xenson, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your time. Any last
Pleasure.
words for the people?
Well, hip hop has always been the future. Our ancestors, forget about the hip hop as we know it today. Our ancestors were rappers, they are poets, they are griots. So please embrace hip hop. And I know that the young people especially, this is your art form, so embrace it, support it, and let's not be driven by the pressures of the status quo. But most importantly, let's talk about the issues that affect our society, because that's one of the ethos, the foundation of hip hop. That's why we rap. We want to represent our society, our communities. We are a mirror of that. So, why not?
There you go. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you to Xenson, the SoUG podcast. We're out of here. Peace and love.
It's in the way I walk, so UG. It's in the way I talk, so UG. From my head to my feet, so UG. What you get is what you see, so UG. It's in the way I walk, so UG. It's in the way I talk, so UG. From my head to my feet, so UG. What you get is what you see, so UG. I'm so UG.